In a small town in the Philippines, there's an old school bus that's been the subject of many chilling stories. This bus, now abandoned and rusting away in a forgotten corner of the school grounds, used to transport children to and from school. Over the years, it has gained a reputation for being haunted. The once bright yellow paint is now faded and peeling, and the windows are shattered, giving the bus an eerie skeletal appearance. According to local legend, a tragic accident many years ago claimed the lives of several children on this bus, and their spirits have never left. It was a cool evening when the 5 friends gathered near the old schoolyard. Jake, the one who always sought out excitement, had suggested the dare. Sarah, his girlfriend, was hesitant but didn't want to seem scared. Mark, the joker of the group, tried to keep the mood light, though his unease was apparent. Emily, who had a keen interest in ghost stories, seemed more curious than afraid. And Lucas, the skeptic, scoffed at the idea of ghosts but agreed to come along. One by one, they climbed the steps and entered the bus. The air inside was musty, filled with the scent of decay and neglect. Broken seats and torn upholstery littered the aisle, and shards of glass crunched underfoot. Emily shone her flashlight around, revealing graffiti-covered walls and eerie messages scratched into the metal. "Look at this place," Mark said, trying to lighten the mood. "It's like a set from a horror movie." "Yeah, a really bad one," Lucas muttered, rolling his eyes. Emily moved the flashlight beam over the walls, reading aloud one of the messages. "Welcome to your worst nightmare." Jake snorted. Somebody had a lot of time on their hands. Panic set in as the giggling grew louder, accompanied by the unmistakable sound of children's laughter. It echoed around the bus, coming from every direction. Jake tried to keep his composure, but the fear in his eyes betrayed him. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered, her eyes wide with fear. They all stopped and listened. At first, there was nothing but the sound of their own breathing. Then faintly they heard it, a soft, eerie giggle, followed by the sound of footsteps. "Okay, we need to get out of here," Jake said, his voice shaking. "Now." Desperation set in as they tried to force the door open, but it wouldn't budge. The laughter continued, growing louder and more distorted. The bus seemed to come alive, the metal groaning and creaking as if in pain. The windows fogged up, and faint handprints appeared on the glass, leaving trails in the condensation. Mark, in a fit of panic, began banging on the windows. "Let us out. Somebody, please." Emily's voice trembled. "This isn't funny anymore. We need to get out." "There's no such thing as ghosts," Lucas insisted, though his voice was shaky. "There has to be a rational explanation." "Rational or not, we're stuck," Jake replied, trying to force the door open with no success. The friends froze, their eyes locked on the spectral figure. She began to move down the aisle, her footsteps echoing in the silence. As she approached, the temperature dropped even further, and they could see frost forming on the windows and seats. "Who are you?" Jake demanded, though his voice was barely more than a whisper. The girl tilted her head, her smile never faltering. "We are the forgotten," she replied, "the ones who never made it home." As she spoke, the bus filled with the sounds of children crying, pleading for help. The friends covered their ears, trying to block out the heartbreaking sounds, but it was no use. The cries grew louder and more desperate, filling their minds with terror. "Please let us go," Sarah begged, tears streaming down her face. "We didn't mean any harm." The girl's smile faded, replaced by a look of sadness. "It's too late," she said. "You've entered our domain. Now you must stay."